Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, and I am Prachi Garg. I will be taking your today's session on formal email writing. I hope you all are doing very well. You all are taking care of yourself, and you have taken the most from these classes. I have always repeated this. I'm going to repeat this in today's class as well. I hope you are taking most of these classes, and you're staying home, you're staying safe. And after the classes, of course, you're going back to whatever you have studied, and you are practicing also side by side so that you are all set for your exams, right? In today's session, I will be taking formal email writing. Formal email writing is very, very, very essential part of our day-to-day communication. So I hope you listen to me very carefully in today's lecture. You are with me the way you have always been with me throughout the session. So I will be asking you questions and I will be expecting answers from you. Besides that, I will be taking you through from the basics to whatever is required to learn about email writing and email writing, the components, the language that is used, how it should be used, what are the common mistakes that people make, everything I will be discussing. This is something very important. This is not only important for a professional communication, this is also important for your any kind of communication, even if it's informally, even if you're writing to your friend. There are certain things that you should know about email writing, and you will be using it, using the knowledge whenever you're writing an email, whenever you're communicating with anyone across the globe. Right? So first thing first, what is an email? I'm sure you all are aware what email is, right? Somewhere we all are using it anyway. We all have an email ID. We are already on one of the, these web carriers. We already have one email ID, maybe on Yahoo, maybe on Google, maybe on MSN, Outlook, wherever. So you already have one email ID and you must be already having some communication with some other person, right? So, but still, what is an email? What do you understand when somebody tells you, okay, send me an email? Did you read my email? I'm expecting your email, right? So what does that email mean? Email is an electronic mail, right? Any communication that is done electronically, right? When you are sending. So you've already done formal letter writing, right? So formal letter writing is when you are writing it on a page and you are sending it across through a post, through a speed post, through a courier or something. But email is sent on the electronic device, which is a computer, with the help of internet, right? So email is sent to maybe for your business communication, maybe to your friend, maybe when you're inquiring about something, maybe when you are dealing with some online orders, right? So you kind of engage or indulge into email writing, right? So email writing is basically electronic mail. Clear? Are we here? Are we clear till here what email is? So the full form is electronic mail. Now, you can have three kinds of communication through email, which is one is of course formal, second is informal, third is semi-formal, right? Pretty much easy to guess what formal writing is. Formal writing is when you are talking or when you are having a communication with someone formally or professionally within an organization, maybe to another organization for related to your work, related to your business. That is a formal communication, right? Informal is, of course, when you are talking to your friends, family, maybe you're writing an email to a friend who is in United States. So just about a day, you are having a normal conversation about your life and your routine and everything. That is an informal communication, right? Semi-formal is when you're having a communication within a team. So you have a team in office, right? You're working in one particular department or you're working in one particular team, right? And you are having an internal conversation. Or maybe a discussion about a project, maybe a discussion about anything that is going to come up in your work, upcoming your events, anything. So that is semi-formal. Now, why that is semi-formal? Why can't that be informal? Right? That is semi-formal because you are talking to someone related to work. Of course, you don't have to be formal because you know the person very well, you're comfortable with the person. So your use of language will not be exactly formal, but you cannot also get informal also, right? You have to take care of language. Now, coming on to the language part, language basically creates the disparity between which email is formal, which email is informal, and which email is going to be semi-formal, right? So your language is going to decide, your use of language is going to decide which kind of for email writing are we talking about. In formal writing, of course, you will be using formal language, right? You have to take care of the words that you're using. You have to take care of your grammar. You have to take care of your spelling. You have to take care of about your punctuations, right? And about the content as well, right? You just cannot talk about anything or, just go on about anything irrelevant. You have to be very concise, clear, precise what you're talking about, and you have to take care of the language part here, right? The opening and the closing has to be proper. We will be discussing about opening and closing and everything in details later, but just for the introduction, you have to take care about how you articulate your email, right? Informal, of course, the language can be informal, right? You can use slangs, you can use abbreviations, you can get a little informal about your language, right? So, like, for example, you can tell your friend that, okay, see ya soon, right? Now, see ya soon is a slang. Ya is a slang word, right? But you cannot tell your colleague or, you cannot tell your person who's related to you, related because of business to you, I'll see ya. No, right? You have to write very formal, like, I hope to see you on Wednesday. Maybe you have a meeting fixed up, right? Semi-formal is, now, there's something between formal and informal, right? You cannot get informal. You have to get formal, but of course, the language that you use, that doesn't need to be absolutely formal, right? Am I clear? Yes. So, I will be sharing a PPT here with you, and then we will be first we will be discussing the format, and then we will move on to the language part. Okay, so like I said, email writing is electronic mail, right? This we need to understand that email is kind of a revolutionary development in the field of communication. And nowadays, it's a commonly used means of communication because it is fast, it is immediate, it allows you to interact with all kinds of business. It also allows you to interact with people within the country, within your state, city, to beyond the boundaries, beyond your national boundaries. You can talk to anyone with and everybody is just a click away, right? You can just have a conversation with anyone in US, Canada, Europe, anywhere, right? So, because if you understand, letter writing used to take a lot of time, right? You will write an email, write a letter, then you will post. There is, of course, some days that are there, when somebody else will receive there's some fixed time because letter has to be transferred with different means of communication, means of transportation. Right? So letters take time to reach to the person, but emails can just immediately be sent and the person can immediately receive and read, and we can have a quick action about whatever you are having a discussion about, right? So, now, email writing also requires a certain skill set, right? Now, we're going to be talking about what skill set are we talking, a skill set that I've mentioned here. So I will be discussing that in details. Like I have already told you that it is very essential not to commit mistakes, right? In formal writing especially, right? Like I just said, you have to keep a check on your spellings, your punctuations, your grammar, everything. So there is no space for committing mistakes. It doesn't create a good impression. Okay, it is not a crime, but it doesn't create a good impression on the person who's reading your email, right? And of course, it is not something that needs to be mentioned here, but still it is a vital aspect of business communication, right? All business communications are done through emails these days, right? So it is very essential. If you know that people who did not have computers or internet at their own time, but who they are still practicing today, they are still working today, they had to update themselves. They had to learn about computers, internet, email writing, because everybody is kind of involved and indulged into it. So it is very important to understand about email writing. That is going to help you in every step, in everything that you are doing. Now, my focus for today will be formal email, right? Because this is something that is part of our business correspondence and reporting, right? This is something that is essential for us to understand first thing first, right? Now, formal email, of course, is the right choice for business situations, right? So, formal email is basically sent to the person whom you don't know or to someone who is an authority. Do you understand? Of course, you don't know someone, so you would be formal with someone. When we don't know about someone, when we have not met someone, when we are talking to someone for the first time, even verbally, we try to be formal. So similarly, when you are writing an email to the person whom you don't know, whom you have never met before, or maybe you never had a conversation before, so you will try to be formal at least for your first email, right? Then, of course, to someone in authority. Like, what do you mean by someone in authority, right? Maybe you're writing somebody an email in income tax office, right? You are talking to somebody who's in authority, somebody who's in position, right? And you have to request someone or you need some information, right? So that is where the formal email will come in between, right? You cannot write informally to someone. When you are talking something serious, when you're talking something about your business, you have to stick to your formal language, right? Now, what do you mean by formal language here? Formal language means that you cannot use abbreviations, right? You have to use a full form of whatever you're talking about, right? Please understand abbreviation, not everybody understands abbreviations, right? It is always good to use for a full form of anything that you are talking about, right? Contractions. You know what contractions are, right? So do not becomes don't, right? When we're writing in short, that is a contraction. When you combine two words together, do not, cannot becomes can't, right? Do not becomes don't, right? Does not becomes doesn't, right? So it is not, again, a good exercise to use contractions in your formal emails, right? Slangs. See ya. Instead of saying see you, if you're telling someone see ya, that is informal language, right? So we don't use, that is slang, and slang is informal language. We don't use slangs in formal communications, right? Anyway, if you ask me, I never favor using slang languages, right? And you will realize once you start using formal language, once you start using full forms, once you stop using contractions, in your informal language, on your informal chats on WhatsApp, on your text messages also, that will become your habit. And this is a good habit, right? Because as you grow up, nobody appreciates using slang languages, even on text messages or on WhatsApp messages, right? Somebody like me, I do not appreciate for sure, right? Emoticons, you know this. You cannot make smileys in your formal communication, yeah, right? You can't express yourself using emojis, right? And any other informal terminology. Use complete sentences and proper grammar. I'm saying this again and again to reinforce this idea, to keep telling you so that this stays on with you forever, that incomplete sentences and not proper use of grammar is not acceptable. Along with this, please add on spellings and punctuations as well. Over the years, you will have to learn about it if you want to have an effective communication. right? You know what effective communication is, right? We have spoken about it off and on, right? You already have one complete chapter on communication, right? So, these small things, if you connect all the dots, somewhere this affects you, right? So if this is again part of effective communication, so you need to know about all of this. Now, there are two examples right in front of you, right? I want you to look at these two examples, right? Read both the sentences very carefully, and then I will tell you what I'm trying to say here. I've told you that use of language is very important, right? When you're having a formal conversation, right? So these two sentences will actually tell you what exactly I'm trying to tell you here, right? You have 20 seconds to read these two sentences. All right, let's start. So the meeting is scheduled for December 5th at noon. There's a basic format of emails. When I say basic format, that means I will be introducing you with the basic. Your email ID, basically if you're a sender, that email ID will be mentioned, right? Two, of course, receiver's name or email ID. When I say, why am I saying the sender's name or receiver's name? So when you are sending an email to somebody very frequently, so you kind of save their email ID with the person's name, right? So if you just find out, for example, you're sending an email to me, right? And you keep sending emails to me regularly, and you have saved my email ID by my name, just the way we save the phone numbers in our phone, right? So every time you're sending an email to me, you don't have to write the entire email ID. You can just write down my name and you will get my email ID also right there. My name and my email ID. It makes your work easier, right? Now, CC. The full form of CC is carbon copy, right? So just like the name, carbon copy means when you're sending a same email to other people also. So there is one person as receiver, right? But there are other people whom you would like to communicate about the entire conversation, or maybe you are sharing a document and you want others to also get the document, right? So you will mention their names in the CC, the tab, the CC tab, okay? BCC. BCC is blank carbon copy, right? Now, what does that mean? BCC is basically, you want to share it with some other people, right? But the receiver will not get to see, the receiver cannot see the names and the email IDs of the people who are also receiving this email. So basically, the CC, the names and the email IDs that are mentioned in CC, the receiver can see who else has received this email. But if you put the names in the BCC tab, the receiver cannot see. He will never, or he or she will not get to know who else received this email, right? Like for example, if I tell you, and it is kind of a good exercise also, in BCC, like if, for example, I'm sending an email to someone, right? In BCC, at times, if I was not sure about the receiver's ID, I used to mention in BCC my own email ID so that, I should be sure. Nowadays, Google, when you send an email, Google shows you a message sent, right? But this message sent option was not there, a few years ago. So people used to mention their email IDs in BCC so that they are sure that email has been sent from their ID. right? So if you have also received that email, that means the email has already been gone, and the person must have received the email, right? Subject. Now, what is a subject? Subject is basically, you can say, the title of your email. Yes. It just tells you in brief what this email is going to. There's just one line that you have to mention in subject tab. Just one line, right? And very short line, I would say, brief. But that line should be telling the receiver what he or she should expect in the email. When you open the email, what you are going to expect, right? So the subject line is very important. You have to be very careful when you're crafting your subject line, right? Because that subject line is going to decide if somebody is going to open your email or not, right? Sometimes, most of the people do this. So you receive like about 10 emails in a day, right? Based on the subject lines, I will choose which email is on my priority list, right? And there could be possible that the subject line which was not properly crafted, I will not even open the email. Maybe I will straight away delete the email, thinking that maybe it's just forwarded email, maybe it's just a promotional email, just a marketing email, right? So it totally depends on the sender, how he or she crafts the subject line. Based on the subject line, the success of email is going to be decided, right? Salutation is, of course, when you are addressing someone. Now, when you are addressing someone is very important. Again, you have to be very respectful when you are talking formally. First thing first. Second, in email writing, everybody appreciates if the email is addressed personally. Right? Nowadays, it's not very difficult to find out about the name of the person whom you want to send the email, right? So everybody expects that email is personalized, right? If you see these days, even promotional emails, the marketing emails are also personalized, right? So that the person takes it seriously, so that the person takes out the time to read it, right? That is the reason why these marketing emails are also personalized. Main body. Main body is basically the main, you know what main body is, right? You've already discussed this term when you were doing, you must be doing letter writing. So main body is basically your main message in that email, right? Again, the email has to be crafted very carefully here. The language that you use, the message that you're trying to convey, that should be clear. And you know how you can create an effective email. The email shouldn't be lengthy, right? It is not a letter, right? It is an email. It is an email, and your communication and your conversation should be very, very, very short, clear, and concise and precise, I would say, right? Nobody likes to read lengthy emails. Okay. This was about main body. And of course, in your main body, your opening and your closing. I'm using these two words again, opening and closing here. How you start your email and how you close your email is very important, right? If you, if you look at this aspect also, the emails are short, right? So every word counts, right? How you choose your words, how the right choice of words counts. Every word will count in it, right? Nothing will be ignored, which is why opening and closing is also very important. Attachments, of course, attachments is again important. Now, what is attachment? Attachment is a separate document that you attach with an email. So when I say that your email shouldn't be lengthy, right? What people do at times is that whatever content that they want to share, they just write it in the entire email. Like, for example, resume. Let's just take an example of when you're applying for a job, right? You don't need to add everything, whatever you have done, whatever about your education qualification, about your professional qualification, about your extracurricular activities. You do not need to mention each and everything in an email, right? You can mention briefly, right, what you have done, from where you are and what position you're applying for. But the minute details about yourself, you don't need to mention in email. You create a separate document, which is resume, you call them CV, right? And you attach the document with your email. And this is a perfect example, right? So your resume is basically the rest of your details about yourself in a detailed manner, in a lengthy manner, right? So that attachment is basically your resume. So you basically apply for a job, you introduce yourself, you also tell about your interest and the post that you're interested in, and then you mention about that you have attached your resume for for the details, right? So that is the attachment part here. Signature line. Signature line is when you're writing your name in the end, right? Signature line is also very important, right? Some people just choose to write their just first name, right? When they're closing a formal email. No, you're supposed to write your full name, right? Designation, if there is any, your company's name, if there is any. So, or maybe you're working for any company, your details, your phone number should be there. So all of these things are part of a signature, right? Okay, so if you see, if you can just look at these basic format of emails, if you look at all the terminologies, I hope they're clear to you, right? Is there anything that you want me to repeat? Please mention in the query box. I will repeat whatever you need to be, whatever you want me to repeat. But I don't think you would want me to repeat anything because I will be discussing subject, salutations, mean, body, closing, everything in details. One by one. Okay. Can I move on for ahead? Now, anatomy of good email. So now let's start discussing about what a good email is. Right? What a good email is. First thing first, that CC from to BCC is easy. There is nothing to be explained there. You just need to have correct email IDs if you want your email to go and reach to the person whom you want to read this email. So that part, please always check the email IDs before sending an email, right? Before even thinking to start writing an email, you should have your proper email ID with you already. And of course, check the email IDs before you send the email out, right? Now, let's start discussing about the subject line here. Like I said, subject line is the most important part of the email. What does that mean? A good subject line can entice people to open your email to read. I have already explained this. A good email, a subject line will decide if your email is going to be open or not, right? For example, you are having a conversation with someone for the first time, right? And you are sending your profile and your business profile for the first time because you want to start doing business with someone, right? So what is going to be your subject line? Are you going to say hi, hello in the subject line? No, right? You can have a good subject line as introduction, hyphen, and then you can write your company's name, right? So that the person knows that there is some organization that wants to be introduced, right? So you will write a proper subject line as introduction, hyphen, your company's name, right? Or maybe you can write a profile of the company's name. Am I clear? Right? So the other person is clear what to expect in the email. So when the person will open the email, the person knows that somebody is going to introduce with his or her company or maybe his or herself, right? So the person is clear, right? But you cannot write a subject line as hi, hello, would like to meet you. No, these are not the subject lines that is preferred. This is not even preferred in an informal conversation. Am I clear? You can also Google about subject lines, right? So whenever you are writing an email, look for some options, look for some templates online, right? If you do not want to write, I'm sure you will find many templates. I'm sure you will find many samples online. And then, of course, you can decide judiciously like what you want to use. Am I clear? Yes, what suits your email, or what suits the person whom you're sending the email, and what suits you specifically, right? So you can choose the options from there. And once you start writing emails, then I think you understand how to craft your own subject line. But just for the starters, I'm saying you can, of course, every time you can Google and you can find out what to write. You can just take a little bit of help. A bad subject line can land up your email in a spam or a trash, like I just told you, right? If I receive 10 or 20 emails in a day, right? Half of them goes to a trash and a spam without opening it. I don't even read them because of a poor subject line. And that is the case with everyone, right? You don't want to waste your time. When you are working, when you're busy, you don't want to waste your time opening each and every email. Maybe half of the emails are just marketing emails, right? But there's some marketing emails whose subject line is so good that you are just enticed to open it, right? So now that is a success of an email. So if their email is open, if I've read the email, if the receiver has read the email, that email sending was successful, right? But that totally depends on your subject line, right? Spend double time while crafting the right subject line. So a lot of experts says that you should spend double time while crafting the right subject line, right? Every time you're discussing a new topic, change the subject line. This is very important. Now I'll explain you how. There is one email, there's one trail of email. So basically, I sent an email to my colleague. We are discussing one project, right? So the subject line was chosen according to the topic or according to the thing that we are going to discuss. Maybe the project's name is our subject line, right? We're discussing about that project, right? Now, after a discussion, we want to discuss about some other thing, right? And it is going to be wrong if I am discussing about something else in the same trail of email, right? Because if my friend sends me some other topic to discuss within that email, I might open the email thinking that we are discussing about that previous topic. But no, the topic has changed, right? So there should be at least maybe a new trail of email that should start, right? Or maybe I should be already aware that, okay, now we are going to talk about something else, right? Now there is some other topic of discussion, right? So the subject line has to be changed. Am I clear? Okay, now the thing is that maybe I sent an email to, again, my boss, right? And he or she feels that no, okay, this is not important to be discussed within this project. Let's talk about the other thing that is on the priority list, right? So when my boss is sending back the email to me, he or she will make sure that he changes the subject line also, modifies it. If not change it, at least modify the subject line so that I know that the topic and the discussion has completely been changed, right? Before opening the email, I should know what I am going to expect in an email, right? Am I clear? So this is why subject line is very important here. Oh. Next is salutations and greetings. Small things make a lot of difference, okay, while creating an impression on the receiver, right? Like, I told you in the beginning that when you are addressing an email, try to make your emails personalized, right? Try to use the name of the person whom you are directly addressing the email, right? But there are people, this is a common mistake. People forget to use the name properly, yes? And that might sound rude, or that might even create a good impression on someone, right? For example, if I have to send an email to Sanjay Garg, right? And formal email, I have a business relation, I have a professional relation with this person, and I have to send a formal email, right? So there are two ways, right? If I'm too formal, I will be using Dear Mr. Garg, right? No. Some people use it as Dear Sanjay Garg. No, this is completely wrong. Dear Sanjay Garg is completely wrong, right? So there are two ways that you can use it in a correct manner. First way is either call him Dear Mr. Garg, right? Another way is that you just use the first name without the title, without the surname. Dear Sanjay. Am I clear? Both ways is correct. It totally depends on how formal or semi-formal you are and what is your comfort level. So either you use Dear Sanjay or Dear Mr. Garg, not Dear Sanjay Garg. This is a very common mistake that people do. People always write the full name without the title along with Dear. No. No, no, no. Please mark my words. This is completely wrong. The person who's reading the email doesn't feel like reading the email, right? The people just feel like deleting the email, right? If you're not addressing the person correctly, right? So this is very important, right? Dear students, when you're writing, of course, maybe there's some circular that needs to be addressed to all the students in the college or maybe in a school. So you write Dear students, right? Dear Miss Jones, right? It is always good when you are addressing a woman, you're addressing any female, you use Miss, not Mrs. because you don't know the status of the person. So Miss is a very safe side to use. You never use, the Miss is a center of thing. You never use Mrs., right? Okay. Now, you can also use hi and hello. In some organizations, this is completely okay. Hi, Mr. Smith. Hello, Mr. Smith. Right? As long as you are taking the person's name respectfully, it is all okay. Right? And it totally depends on the kind of organization that you're working in. So even hi, hello is okay. Right? But of course, the rest of the language needs to be formal, not informal. Just because you're using hi and hello, that does not mean that the entire conversation or that the entire email becomes informal. No. Right? If you do not know the person whom you're sending the email, please try to find that. I have already told you nowadays you have so many means to find it about the person. So, for example, I want to communicate to somebody's human resource department, right? And to apply for a job, right? And I don't know the person's name and I want to find out about the person's name. So these days there's so many options available, right? I can of course Google, right? I can go to the company's website to find the person's name. I can of course search the person on LinkedIn. Yes, you know what LinkedIn is, right? So it's not very difficult to find the person. But last resort, after everything that you have tried, you're still not able to find the person's name, then in that case, you can use their human resource department, right? So when you're using a department's name, the person who's receiving the email knows that, okay, this email needs to reach to the human resource department. Also, okay, before that, when you're using such generalized salutation, right? Make sure that you are sending the email on the common ID, like, contact@abc.com, info@abc.com. If you have just got this email ID to contact the particular company, in that case, please write down in salutation, Dear Human Resource Department, so that the person at the desk who's receiving the email knows that this email needs to be forwarded to the Human Resource Department. Am I clear? Yes. And in this case, also please choose the subject line wisely, carefully. Dear Sir and Madam is of course always safe thing to use, right? To whom it may concern, this is generally used in letter writing. We don't use this in email writing. But in case you're using it for some very general email, you are sending it to one organization, addressing to no one in particular, in that case you can use it, but try not to use it. Am I clear? Try not to use it. You should always know whom you're sending the email. You should always be sure of whom you're sending the email. Am I clear? So make sure that you don't need to use this. But this is again a last resort. I hope you're clear about salutations and greetings here. Okay, now coming on to the body. Now, that is the main part of the email, right? That is the main part of what you're going to talk about. Now, body is the first thing first, opening. you should always introduce yourself if you're going to have a conversation with someone for the first time. Right? The person should know who you are. What are you going to talk about? Right? The other is, of course, you should also introduce the main agenda of your email. Right? So you are talking to someone for the first time. First, introduce yourself. Then tell the person about the main agenda, that what you're going to talk about this email, right? Maybe you like somebody's product and you're going to talk about that, I would like to purchase this product from you in bulk, right? And I want you to discuss about that. So your first paragraph should be your introduction, who you are, from where you are, and your main agenda is that, I liked one of your products, and or maybe you were referred to this person by someone else. So of course, mention about that reference also, right? Be clear and concise. I am repeating this again and again. This actually goes for every writing skill that you have learned so far. You should always be clear and concise. Please don't go round and round and round about it, right? Divide the paragraphs in email according to the points discussed, right? Emails should not be lengthy. This was first thing that I told you. You can also divide the paragraphs. Okay, so maybe you're talking about 4 things in an email. All of this that I'm discussing here will be cleared when I will be taking up examples, right? So right now, just understand the theory around the email writing. So you can divide the paragraphs in email according to the points discussed. So basically, if you're discussing 4 points in one email, right, have separate paragraphs for that, right? And those paragraphs should not be very long. We are not writing a letter, right? So that by paragraph, I mean just 1 or 2 lines, whatever you want to discuss, right? But the person who's receiving the email should not miss out any point. We divide it into different paragraphs so that the other person is clear about what all thing needs to be addressed or what all things should be taken very seriously. Am I clear? So each paragraph should have only 1 point. Of course, you divide the paragraph according to the points that needs to be discussed. Keep the paragraph short and clear, right? And close and sign off the email with proper and suitable sentences. Right, so you should always close your body of the letter with suitable sentences. Like, for example, please feel free to reach out to us. Right, let me know if anything else is required. You can say, thank you for your time. Right, and you can also say, looking forward to hearing from you again. So you should always have an ending, what you are expecting. Okay, you should always leave a person on one note where you are expecting, right? And also this tells other person that you're expecting an answer, you're expecting a reply from that person, right? So you should always have one closing line if you want to have a long-term communication or long-term relationship with someone, right? Opening and closing actually makes the reader feel good, right? And it also decides the next course of action. Am I clear? If the letter is not crafted, if the email is not crafted carefully, maybe you will lose the chance of having a business with the other person, right? Keep a check on your use of grammar, spelling, punctuation. I have told you this again and again, so this is the last time I'm reminding you. Maybe I'll remind you once again at the end, towards the end. Right, so are we clear about the body of the email? Right, now let's talk about the closing here. Right. Just as you want to start the things on a good note, you also want to part well. Right? What does it mean? Again, if you have started things on a good way, you also want to end it on a good note. Right? So you should always have a friendly sign off, and you should always have, you should use proper words like thanks, best, regards, sincerely, best wishes. Whatever suits your work, whatever suits your relation, whatever suits you as a person, you can choose. But all of these should be respectful. Your closing should be respectful. The other person shouldn't feel that you are being rude, right? And you do not leave the things on a good note, right? So it is also these things are essential for the other person to read your email and to reply to your email, or maybe to have a business with you. Your email also tells a lot about you, right? Uh, Also, I forgot to tell you, in the body and the closing, the tone should be polite, right? Even if you're angry with someone, your email shouldn't tell that it shouldn't sound like as if you're shouting on someone, right? For example, if I say, Dear Sanjay Garg, right? Dear Sanjay Garg. So it's very rude. The other person might take it as rude, right? If I say, call someone Dear Mr. Garg, this is being polite. Even if I want to complain in the rest of the email, I want to complain about one of his products that I've bought. Irrespective of that, your salutation should be respectful. Am I clear? Okay, so I will proceed with other things a little later. Let me just go through if there are any queries so that I can move ahead. If there's any query, please leave in the query box so that I can read and I can see uh, if you guys need something else, some other clarification. All right, so I have received quite a number of queries. Let me answer them first so that, one topic is closed and then we start with other things. Uh, Aditi, slang means, I hope you guys know, slang is the informal use of language, right? Disha, no, I will not give you exercise for doing this topic. Yes, we will be doing some exercise in this class towards the end for sure. But rest, you should practice it on your own. Also, you will be receiving revision test papers soon on the website. So I think that should be enough for practice. You can also pick the topics from or pick the questions from previous years' revision test papers and wall test papers. Semi-formal is when you're having a communication within a team, right? You're not talking to your boss. You're not talking to, your junior. You are just subordinate. You are just talking to someone, amongst your team, right? You're working on one project. Two people are working on same project. They are having a discussion about. So that doesn't need to be too formal because, of course, one, you know the person. You are comfortable with the person. So you can be a little informal, but not very informal because again, you are talking in one particular setup of organization, right? So when I say informal language, I do not mean slangs and emojis to be used here, but of course, you can be a little light with your language. Contractions can be used, abbreviations can be used if you know that you too will be able to understand. No, there is no similarity between letter writing and mail writing. No, 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 no. Just that you need to take care of the language in both things. How can you expect having a similarity between writing and, email? Okay, some people have a complaint that the slide is not clear. So even if the slide is not clear, please listen to me because I am reading everything that is there on the slide. And I am, of course, explaining also. Second thing is, of course, this PPT will be uploaded maybe after the class. You can, of course, always go back and then go through this PPT. Thank you for answering to that slide that I asked you, formal informal conversation. Just like here, sir. There is no as such word limit in email writing, right? But of course, you can't write 500 words in an email for sure. Nitendra, I've already explained the difference between CC and BCC. CC is basically when the receiver can see the email IDs and see whom else have you shared the document or the email with. BCC is basically the invisible email IDs and the names in the email. So the receiver doesn't get to know with whom else the email was shared. Signature line contains email, telephone number of recipient or signature. Yes, some people have one fixed signature already being created, and wherein you mention about everything. So you mention about your name, you mention about your designation, your company's name, phone number, email ID, at times your office address also, your company's website name also. So that signature can be created, right? So that the receiver gets entire information. So yes, these parts are of the signature line. But for example, you are a student, right? And you are writing an email to your teacher or maybe a principal of your school. So with your name, first you should of course write in signature line your full name. And beneath that, you should mention about your class, right? Designation, of course, if you have a designation, maybe you are a prefect, maybe you're a house captain, maybe you're a head girl, head boy. So you should always mention that creates your entire signature line. And the other person also knows who you are. Spam or trash means, so in an email, of course, when you open your email, in the left side of any email box that you open, mailbox that you open, there are different categories: inbox, sent items, drafts. So there are two options of spam and trash also. Right? So spam is basically, at times somebody has sent you an email and you have not received that email. You have not received that email in the inbox. That email goes into the spam list, right? So, spam list is basically that list where all the irrelevant emails land up, right? And trash is, of course, when you delete an email and it goes to the trash box. Vinita, yes, subject line is a title, but not exactly title. You should not frame it as exactly like a title, but yes, it's kind of, giving an introduction of your email. No, you cannot have two subject lines. How can you have two subject lines here? There's just one bar that is given, one subject line bar. You don't have 2, 3 lines. It is not an address line. Right? Address line 1, address line 2, address line 3. No, you're not placing an order here. So in email, you just have one bar, subject line. It has to be only one. No, you cannot write Mr. Sanjay Garg. No, either it is Dear Mr. Garg or Dear Sanjay, not Dear Mr. Sanjay Garg. No. Formal writing, if you're writing somebody in ICA virtual classes, if you want to have a communication with someone in ICI, of course formal. You can't be informal, you can't be semi-formal. It has to be formal communication. No, you cannot have bullets for dividing the paragraphs. No. You don't need that. You can just leave a line, so you can have a double spacing. That's enough to other person to know that you are changing the paragraph. Okay. Right. So I will be taking 5 minutes break right now. And then we will come back and I will be sharing with you few sentences that you can use in your email, just as like a starter kit that I will be giving you, how you can start your email and how you can close your email. Right. So we will be talking about all of that. Of course. And the other thing is we will be discussing about what is an effective email and what is your ineffective email. right? That is beautifully explained in your ICI course materials. If you do not have ICI course material with you, please go and get it quickly within 5 minutes, because I will be referring to the course material now. And then I will be here in next 5 minutes. Jason? 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 एक सेकंड सर, एक सेकंड, अभी लाइव मत करना. Is it live? Okay. All right, guys. So welcome back. And somebody's asked me that if you don't know the person, can we write dear sir and madam? Yes, you can. Of course, this is always a safe thing to use, right? And anytime you want to be respectful to someone, you can always use that. This is the good thing to use. And Alok, what will be the salutation for the known member of HR department? Like I said, you can use, if you know the name, just simply use the name, no, in a respectful way. Like, you know, if the person's name is Pooja Goyal, so you use either you say dear Miss Goyal, right? You can't say dear Pooja exactly if you're applying for a job or something. But even if you use dear Pooja, that is also okay. Okay, can I move ahead? Somebody's asked me, is BCC safe, ma'am? Ravani, it is safe as long as you take care of it, right? So that is okay. Nobody gets to know anything. Once sent an email can be deleted from the receiver, like delete for everyone in WhatsApp. No. Email cannot be deleted. Once I have received the email, the sender cannot do anything, right? Which is why we say that when you're sending an email, please double check your email, please read your email, proofread your email once again. You should be sure of what you're sending, right? You should be sure of the typos, your grammar, your spelling errors, your punctuation, everything you should be sure of. Am I clear? And Tushar, please send your question once again. I don't know what you would think. Okay, perfect. So before I move on with the PPT and before I tell you about the phrases that you can use, I want you to quickly take you through what are the do's and don'ts and what is an effective email and what is not. What is an ineffective email? Non-effective email. So of course you should be clear about your purpose, right? The information that you want to share, please make points of it. Tone and language should be suitable, right? You know, I've told you that the person who's receiving your email, the tone should be appropriate, right? Okay. Even if you are maybe a teacher and you're scolding one of your students or for any project, please be very careful about the use of language that you use, right? You should be scolding, but in an appropriate language. You always use official IDs for your work-related things. So every company or every organization makes your email ID. So for example, the company's name is ABC, right? So if my email ID would be prachi@abc.com, right? Otherwise, of course, Gmail and all that is okay. Hotmail. Use proper salutation. I've already told you. Keep the mail short and simple. I have told you, right? Use short sentences. State subject and main purpose. Use separate paragraphs for stating different points. Include pie chart, graphs, and flowcharts to present information. I am not in quite a favor of including pie charts, flowcharts, and graphs in the email. You can have them as a separate attachment, right? Content of the email should be logical and systematically organized. The email, since it is short, there should be a flow of email, right? You shouldn't be talking about two diverse things one after the other. No. Okay, even if you're talking about two things, first your subject line should mention about that you're going to talk about two things, right? Second is the content should be logical. When I say logical, you shouldn't be talking about illogical things over emails, right? Because illogical things can be confusing. So confusing things, you do not talk on emails because things that are already confused when you write them, that they are more confusing, right? So you try to speak verbally and sort it out, whatever it is. Do not write entire email in capital letters. This is such a big don't. Do not write entire email in capital letters. Right? Do not think that this is very cool to use. This is okay to use. Even if it is informal, no. Right? There should be proper capitalization. There should not be all the words in capital letters. No. It seems like if I receive an email with all the words in capital letter, I will think that maybe the other person is shouting on me. Right? So it is not a good habit. Anyway, it is not good if you look at from the language perspective also. Highlight and underline the key points. Of course, in your email, you can highlight and you can underline, or maybe you can use italic font for something that you want to be more focused on. Take special care of your tone. I've told you. Ensure you're polite at all the times. Proofread. Proofread, you know what proofreading is? Proofreading is when you have completed writing and you go back again, read whatever you have written. If there are any changes that are required, you edit it. So proofreading is basically when you go back and read once again to see if there is any mistake or not, any spelling error, any grammatical error, or any punctuational error. When you're framing a reply to receipt email, ensure you answer the queries or requests in it. Okay, so when you are sending a reply, so you have received a email that has a query about your product, about your firm, about whatever you do, make sure, right, you reply to everything, whatever was asked in that email first. Second, as a sender, like I told you that every point should have a different topic. So if you want the receiver to reply to every question that you've asked, please make different paragraphs, so that the reader also doesn't miss out to any point. So it's also your job to clarify all the questions for the receiver. Yeah. Okay. Of course, SMS language is not allowed. SMS language is such a bad habit. Please get rid of this language today itself. Right? Because, you get so used to of using this SMS language that you don't even know when you are using it formally. Right? Like, for example, this one habit that everybody has is when they're writing a word, they just omit the vowels in it. Right? It is not a good habit. The reader doesn't enjoy reading it, right? And at times, for me, if somebody sends me such a message, one, I will not read. Second, even if I read, I don't understand, right? Maybe I would misread the word because that word was not written in a complete, in a full form. So I will misread the word, right? So these things are not acceptable, and these things should not even be part of your language if you want to have a good command over your language. Right. Okay. So emails are effective means of communication when? All of this is mentioned on the page number 11.2, 11.3 of your course material. Yes. So 11.3. You need to send information to or contact a large people of communication, group of people. Yes. You want to send an email to 50 people in your organization. So emails work, right? You can of course create a group of people. You can create their groups, and nowadays you also have a feature in your Gmail that even if you're sending one message at one time to 50 people, you can personalize it, right? It will be automatic setting. So every person who's receiving the email will get a personalized email, right? Not as a general like dear all, right? Right? Okay, one thing coming back to the salutation, if you have more than 2 or 3 people in your to list, in your address list when you're sending an email to, if you are sending and you're having a conversation with 4 people, right, or 5 people, please write down, you start your email as dear all. Okay, in 2. Not for the CC people, no. So for the 2, if you're mentioning about 4 or 5 email IDs together, right? So you can write dear all. That means that I am addressing to everyone that is on the list. Right? Okay. So emails work when you want to talk to the large group of people and you want to send a bulky file, electronic file or detailed information to someone. Maybe you want to send an information to your branch office in Chennai. right? And the documents are urgent, so you can send them through email. You can share them through drives, like OneDrive, Gmail, Google Drive, anything. This is the fast way. The other person can take out the printouts right away and have the documents in their hands. It's also easier to contact people who are not approachable, like I just told you. If you're sitting in Delhi and you want to send a document to your branch office in Chennai, you can just send an email, right? Otherwise, for such bulky file, it will take days to reach Chennai, right? So especially if you think, during this time of pandemic, if I'm sending something through courier, this will take a lot of time. Anyway, deliveries are quite slow these days. Daily communication on varied matters. Now, how are people, okay, this is a very important point. Let's discuss this. How do you think people are working from home these days? If emails were not there, like, if a communication was not, discovered through electronic devices, how do you think at this moment people would have been able to work? This is all thanks to internet, and this is all thanks to emails also, that you are able to communicate across the globe, right? You don't have to travel anywhere. Right now, you can just have a conversation, you can have a video call, you can send the documents on emails, you can just do everything online, right? So this is again very important. So you can just talk to anyone, anywhere. You need a written record of communication. So emails are, of course, a very good way of having a written record of communication, right? So when you have discussed something on phone, right, people always try to document them in an email, right? So that, both the people who had a discussion are on the same page. They understand, they have a same understanding of things. So they try to have a written record on emails, right? That is a very good way of keeping a tab on what you have discussed and what all points were discussed and what is going to be the next course of action, right? Emails are inappropriate means of communication when. So now, in what situations emails are not appropriate? First thing is when you are talking about a complicated or a lengthy discussion. Right, so you're going to have, want to discuss something that is going to be, that requires a long discussion, right? Email is not the thing. Email is just to discuss few points, right, in brief. Emails are not there to discuss about something, something that requires a long conversation, right? So email is not the thing. Complicated issues, no. Confusing things, no. Okay, information that is confidential and of sensitive nature. Something which is like a top secret, like something is very confidential and something is of sensitive nature, you do not discuss it on emails because you never know when your email will be forwarded to somebody else. Right? At times, I might have my mailbox logged in on my system and I'm not there on my desk. Somebody can just come and, you access my system and email those emails to someone else, right? So these, when you're talking about something very confidential, of course, you do not prefer emails. Do not write mail when you're emotional. When you are angry or, when you are overwhelmed about somebody's performance or, when you are just generally with your personal things, you're not okay. Please do not write emails, right? Emails are only to be written for, formal and proper conversations, right? Okay. So, because when you're emotional, maybe your choice of words is not correct. Maybe you do not use the right words to communicate. Am I clear? So it is very important that you should be in your right frame of mind when you are writing something, right? And this goes with everything else, like, letter writing, maybe your article writing or anything that you're writing. You do not write when you're emotional, except you just write the novels or poems maybe. You can write fiction, but not when you're having a conversation. Am I clear? Okay. So now coming back, this was about the theory, complete theory. Now let's talk about how to frame an email. I am going to take you through a starter kit of writing a formal email. right? There are, besides what I'm going to show you here, there are 100 more options. You can have your own ways of writing it. Over the years, you will develop your own style of writing. But this is just to start with. This is just for the for you guys if you do not know how to start an email or how to end it and what to write in an email. So I'm going to just show you that here. Now, greetings. Like I just told you, dear Jones, hi Amit, dear Professor Jain, dear Miss Sharma, right? So this is a safe piece, things to use if you do not know the name of the person, and if you have the person's email ID, right? You can just write dear sir and ma'am, right? But dear sir and ma'am is only used when you have a specific ID, when you want to talk to one specific person. Like for example, I want to talk to the editor of the magazine. Right? Now, I don't know who the editor of the magazine is, one. I don't know if the editor is male or female. So in that case, but I have the one generic ID of editor at abcmagazine.com, right? So in that case, I can write dear sir and ma'am, right? Am I clear? Yes. Introducing a topic or informing. Now, when you're writing an email that you want to give some information, maybe you are going to take a leave today. So you can just say, this is to inform you, right? This is to inform you that I am not feeling well today, right? And then you can go on, like, what is your problem? And you want 2 days leave to rest at home, right? And then you also ask your boss if it is okay to take the leave. Like, you just don't take a leave. Okay, we'll discuss when you're talking about examples. Okay, just to let you know, good news, bad news, I've got a news for you. So when you're going to share a news with someone, maybe you've got a promotion, or maybe I have to inform someone about the promotion. So I can start my email as good news, or maybe I have got a good news for you, right? Bad news, the company is going to declare the pay cuts, right? So I want to inform everyone about it. Okay, follow up on previous discussion or email. So we already have a discussion. We had a discussion and the work is done according to the discussion. So I can start the email as, dear Ms. Jones, as discussed, please find attached the documents, required documents. Right. So as discussed, the team has achieved the targets. Right? So anything that you already had a discussion for, you are just following up on it, or you are just writing something more about that particular topic, you can start your as discussed. Maybe somebody requires something from you and you are sending those required documents. You can start with as required. Right? You can also use as per my telephonic conversation with you. Like you can mention that, on phone we discussed. So, this is the following email. Right? So maybe somebody has asked for a few more documents. Maybe somebody wants you to complete a document assignment that you were assigned for. So you can start your emails like that. To follow up on our meeting and discussion. Maybe you had a business development meeting with someone. Maybe you met someone for the first time for a business, to do some business together. So now you want to follow up with that person, that what does the person think? So you can write about to follow up on our meeting or to follow up on our discussion. Am I clear? In regards to, see, all of these things can be used when you're following up with someone. Asking or requesting. Okay, when you are requesting something, maybe towards the end, after the discussion, you request something like, I would like to know if, could you please let me know if, or when would this be possible? Could you please let me know, or when would this be possible? Or if this will be possible for you. So if, when, how, you can just choose. These are questions. It is always good to have a question in your email when you want an answer back. Could you please give me an update, quote, or an estimate? So for example, you want to place an order with someone and you have already told the person about your order, about your expectation or whatever you need from them. In the end, you can just mention, could you please give me an update or a quote for the order or some estimate, right? Saying thanks. Now, somebody sent you an email and you just want to acknowledge that, you received an email and maybe you just want to simply thank the person. So you can say, thanks for, you have sent an email to someone. The person has replied back with the reply or the answers to your questions. You can just say, thanks for getting back to me. And then you can start your email. right? Or you can say thanks for the information. You can say somebody gave you an update. You can say thanks for the update. Somebody sent you an email for information. Like for example, you have received an email from HR department about a meeting that is scheduled tomorrow. You can just say thanks for the email. I will be there, right? Following up with thanks for following up with me. Thanks for following up. Like somebody's following up with you and you want to thank the person for reminding you that. So you can just say thanks. Am I clear? Now let's talk about the ending part here. Once you are done with your email, once you have already written about whatever was there, you can say, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll let you know. Let me know if we can schedule a meeting tomorrow. Keep me posted, like, let me know whatever developments are happening. Thanks, regards, and all the best. Am I clear? So these things you can use. This is kind of a starter kit. You can always use when whatever is suitable, whatever suits your content of your email. Am I clear? Okay. Now, let's talk about the common mistakes. Common mistakes, these are the common mistakes. Please try to avoid these mistakes, especially after today's lesson. These are the mistakes that you should be careful about, right? I am not sure if somebody is going to tell you this in future. So it's always good to know in the beginning when you start writing formal letters. Writing a poor subject line, right? Why I'm reinforcing this idea is because we come across such emails. We have read such emails, or maybe in the beginning, even we have done these things. We used to write poor subject lines, and maybe this is why we never received any reply back. And nowadays we get such emails when the subject line is not proper and we don't feel like reading or replying to the person, right? Not personalizing your greetings. You lose half of the interest if you receive an email which is not personally addressed, right? In that case, I feel that maybe this email was for many people. I just received an email in a group of people, right? So, or maybe that person is not very interested to work with me. So, if I receive a personalized email, if somebody is making a proposal or an offer with a personalized email, I'll get an impression that yes, this person is interested and serious about doing a business with our firm. Okay. Announcing too much in one message. You don't have to give every information in email unless it is required for. You don't have to announce too much about your plans, about what you want to do. You can have, if required, you can have a separate document, or you can, of course, discuss these things when you have a personal meetings with someone, right? So emails are not to share all your business plans with someone, right? Employing ambiguous language. Employing ambiguous language means the language that doesn't make sense to anyone. That's not a formal language. That's not informal language. It's not properly constructed, right? So nobody wants to read that. Copy and pasting. You cannot copy and paste the email. As a receiver, as a reader, anybody can guess that this email was copy pasted from the internet. And there is a drawback of copy pasting also. Maybe the information that was there in that email that is not relevant to your topic of discussion, right? So you need to edit your email, or maybe I suggest you to write the email completely. You can take the help from other emails that you have, other resources that you have. You can have taken this help from the sample emails, the template emails that are available online, but don't copy paste them, right? Please modify them according to the message that you want to convey or whatever you want to talk about. Forgetting to explain the attachments. So now, related to attachments, there are two mistakes that people do, right? First is, if they attach the email, they forget to mention in the email. So you should always have a line about it. There are some documents that are attached. Please find attached, right? So these words will tell the receiver that, okay, I have to find for some documents also in the same, some attachments. Now, another thing is what people do is they write about please find attached and they forget to do the attachment, right? Now, again, that is a bad impression. Your email should be so perfect in one go. There shouldn't be any room for sending the email once again, right? You should check your email IDs. You should check your attachments before sending if there are any attachments. Am I clear? So these are two mistakes. These are very common mistakes. This happens. I'm not saying somebody does it deliberately. This just happens, but try to avoid it. It is not a good thing. Failing to use signature. You should always have your signature in the end. Please do not, the other person, the email should not be empty without signature. There should be at least your full name in the end. Having a poor email format. Of course, this doesn't need any explanation. Neglecting proofreading. Okay, so if you are neglecting proofreading, you should always proofread. Trust me, all of us make mistakes when we are writing in hurry. All of us makes mistakes, right? So there is nothing to be, nervous about it. It's a good habit to proofread. All of us does, right? Everybody, even if somebody's expert about writing emails, they also proofread it before sending. They just go through, you also proofread about maybe something is left, there's something else needs to be added, right? So when you proofread, you get to know that, okay, maybe I can just leave this from the mail, or maybe I can add this, and you can find out about the other mistakes also. Right? Are we clear? Right? Okay, now coming on to the exercise, a little exercise that we are going to do, right? So this was all about the email writing. Now, when I will be discussing two examples with you right in front of your systems, I want you to read the emails very carefully, and then we will be discussing about what is the problem in this email, right? And how this email should have been actually framed. You have 1 minute to go through this email, right? In your notebook, whatever you have right in front of you, why don't you make notes about what are the things that are missing here, the things that I have discussed with you, right? Things that I have shared with you, find out the common mistakes, find out the vital aspects about it which are absent in this email. So quickly go through this, and if you want to write in the query box, you are free to query box. You are free to do that. I will go through your responses. So 1 minute starts now. Okay, can I start? Have you sent your responses as well? I am actually discussing the body of the letter, email here, not the subject and all of that here. No, just we are discussing the main body of the email writing here. I am glad to see most of you have noticed things. Fine. So, Jessa, for the next slide, can we have 70-30? Because otherwise they won't be able to read. Hello? Okay, so yes, of course, let's talk about the salutation here first. Dear Sally Blue. Many of you have got it right, yes. Dear Sally Blue is wrong. Either you should use Dear Sally or maybe Dear Miss Blue, right? You use first name if you know the person. If you don't know the person, you use Miss Blue, right? You can't use the first name of someone whom you don't know, right? Please note this if I forgot to mention this earlier, right? So like I told you, there are two ways of saying it, but you use a first name preferably when you know the person, right? In this case, it's quite clear that the sender doesn't know the receiver, right? This is the first email of the business that they are sharing, right? Here, the appropriate way would be Dear Miss Blue. Am I clear? All right, next. I read online that you were selling business cards. I was wondering how much if only I only wanted, how much if I only wanted 500. Yes, there's some grammatical error. The sentence structure is not clear. Is color and logo extra? This is not a grammatically correct sentence. Can I see an example before all are shipped, or will that cost extra? You seem to have a great business, so I hope you can help. Right? There is no proper closing. The sentences are broken. There are too many questions that are tied together. These are, two, three different questions. They are supposed to be framed in a different way, right? In the end, it is the person just mentions thanks and just hangs just the name. You don't know from where the person is writing, right? You don't know the phone number of the person. If I want to call the person, how will I call the person? Like, maybe I want to discuss things on phone, right? That is even the quicker way of discussion. So, and that is a more clear way of having a discussion. So there's nothing mentioned here. Am I clear? So there's too many errors in this email. So how this email should have been actually, if you look, I know this email, this font size won't be clear to you, but but I will read out the email for you. So even if you can't read it, you just listen to me. And after I upload the slides, you can see. So if the first email starts with Dear Miss Blue. Okay, now how you should start the email. I was searching online for a company that makes business cards. I came across your website. Now, see why proofreading is important. Now you will see here. See, I forgot to add E. I would have sent the email without proofreading. Yes. So now proofreading is very important here. Even if I frame the entire email, right now I have framed the email. I'm proofreading it along with you guys. So if there is any mistake, we will correct it now. Okay. Okay. I was searching online for a company that makes business cards. I came across your website and I'm really impressed. However, I do have a few questions. So basically, you tell the person how you got to know about the person. Yes. If somebody would have referred you, you would have used the person's name with reference to Mr. So and so. I came across your website and I'm really impressed, right? So, but here I just found this company online. So I've clearly, honestly mentioned that I was looking for somebody to make business cards, and I found you on I found your website on online. And you appreciate that, I'm quite impressed with your work. So this is why I want to work with you. But now, however, I do have few questions. So now you start with your questions from the next line, next paragraph. If I were to order only 500 instead of the advertised 1,000 business cards, how much would that cost? So this is my first question to the receiver, that if I want to place the order of, so I from the website I've got to know that they only take the order of 1,000 cards, but I only need 500 cards. So my first question is that will you take my order for 500 cards? First thing first, my first question has to be related, will you take my order first? The rest of the questions comes later, right? Flow, let's look at the flow of the email here. So first thing is that you ask that my order is for 500 cards, and will you take my order? And if yes, how much would that cost? Furthermore, I would like my business card to be colored and include the logo of my company. So maybe from the website, whatever information I could get, that was a normal quotation. But now I want my business card to be colored and my logo on it. So are those requests possible? First, is that possible? Second, if yes, then how much will that cost? Due to my request for color and logo, I would like to preview the card before receiving all 500. So now my another request is that, since I want colored and logo, I would like to see the card before it goes to 500 printing. Is that feasible? Can you do that? Right? These are all my queries. Before I place the order, I need to be sure of these things. So I've written my first email. I appreciate your assistance and look forward to hearing back from you. Now, can you look at do you look at the ending here? Yes, I appreciate your assistance. So if you can assist me, I would appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to hear from you. I am looking forward that you reply me back with all of these questions, right? Can you see the flow of the email here? Yes. So the person introduced first that, how I came across your website, right? And then what are my queries? And last, the closing is very important. I appreciate your assistance. I would appreciate if you could just assist me or if you could just guide me. Now look at the signature part here. Now the signature is complete. Sincerely, because you're talking to somebody for the first time. Not thanks. Thanks is little, semi-formal and informal, I would say. You start using thanks when you're a little comfortable with someone. But for the first conversation, please use, formal words. Now the name is there. Now the designation of the person, the organization's name, and the phone number of the person, right? Everything is mentioned. This is a complete signature. Are we clear about the email here? Yes, if you are clear, can you please write down in the query box that you're clear, you have understood how email is constructed? Yes? Would you like to just go through this email once? And can you just proofread this email and tell me if there is any mistake or maybe, I should do something about it? Yes, please do that. Tell me if there is any mistake in this email. I would like to correct it. In that way, I will also know that you have proofread my email. Check for the contractions, check for the abbreviations, check for the punctuations, grammar, spelling errors, anything that you can find. Anish, the closing is, if you see this, I appreciate, and then followed by a signature, a proper signature. And if this example was helpful, please write down that this was helpful. If this example cleared your concepts and your doubts, you can always mention about that in query box. That way I know that my examples are working. Okay. If you think I'm looking down, I'm just looking at your query box. Okay, now let's look at the next example. Okay. Again, I give you 1 minute to look at this example and find out the mistakes, and then we discuss about what is the problem in this email. Okay. Now, if you see, hello, Professor Smith. Can you use hello for a professor? Is it an appropriate greeting here? No. So first thing first, Professor Smith is okay, but I would prefer using dear. I'm talking to my teacher here. Second, if you look at the content of the main body here, of course, punctuation errors, grammar errors, abbreviations are used, contraction is used, and informal language is used. There is no proper reason of, it's just like, somebody sent an email informally, but you cannot, if you're taking a leave, like a formal leave from an organization, it has to be written formally, right? You have to state a reason. You have to make the other person also feels that you're sorry for taking a leave, for missing your classes. So the content is not okay. It is like, just writing an email to someone for the heck of writing it. A closing is not proper. There is no closing here. There is nothing used in the signature line. Jason, who Jason? There could be 10 Jasons in the entire college, 100 Jasons for God's sake. Which Jason are we talking about here? Right? So there's nothing clear here. Let's talk about this. Now this is the correct format. Dear Professor Smith, I am sorry to inform you, but I will not be able to attend class today because I am ill. Would it be possible for you to let me know what I have missed? Thank you for your help and I will see you in class on Wednesday. Sincerely, Jason Johns. Right? Now this makes sense, right? There's a proper closing here. Yes, right? Now, if I tell you to prove, now look at this, there's no contraction here. Grammatically it's fine, punctuation it is fine, right? Now I want you to again spot the error in this email, right? Proofread and tell me what is the problem in this email. So if you have written the content and if you are supposed to proofread, what will you do in this email to correct it? You're supposed to answer it to me quickly in 30 seconds. What else is required in this email to be a proper email, a formal email? Are you writing your answers? See. There's quite a big error here. None of you have been able to actually spot what is the problem in the same area. Don't worry, I still give you time to think. Anshul, I'm quite impressed. Yes, closing should be in a separate paragraph. Good. There's another one who has mentioned Sanjana. All right, so now you guys are talking. Anushka, very good. I think Mayank has also mentioned. Okay, so I'm not able to find the names properly again. Okay, yes, there's a problem with the spacing here. So let's just do that. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Okay, so can we put this down? Yes, separate, and this is separate. I'm sorry to inform you, but I will not be able to attend the class today because I am ill. Would it be possible for you to let me know what I have missed? Question. And this line actually tells the professor also the person is sorry. Thank you for your help and I will see you in class on Wednesday. Yes. Now this makes sense. Yes. Jason Johns, yes, you can, the child can mention the class and maybe that is up to your discretion. If you think the teacher will be able to recognize who you are, that is fine. Otherwise, you can mention it here. Grade 10. Am I clear? Yes. So are we clear till here? Now, do you understand how emails are written? Yes, so next time you're writing an email to your teacher also, please make sure that this is a formal writing. You do not write your teacher as see you on Wednesday. No, I will see you in class on Wednesday. right? You're not going out for a party. Am I clear? Yes. So this was about it for today's class. And on this note, I end this topic of formal writing. Right? I hope you enjoyed today's class. So if you enjoyed, you can of course tell me that you enjoyed. If you have any problems, you can write down here right now. I still have 5-6 minutes to go. Anyway, I will be going through your queries right now. If there's any problem, you can write down. If you enjoyed today's class, you can also write here. I will forget towards the end, so I'm just mentioning it here. Please do not forget to fill the feedback form for today's class. Okay, let's just look at the questions here. Kriti, your question is, if you don't know if the person is male or female, then write only surname. How is this possible? If you know somebody's surname, you would know the person's name also. No? You can't be so unsure about it. No, if it is an informal letter, informal email, you can just direct with the first name. But if you see these days, even if you're writing informal email, you always say dear Ria, dear Shikha, right? So you use first name, but you use hi, hello, dear. This is common. Okay. Yes, you do not use respected in email. No, you use dear, hi, hello. You don't use respected Miss Jones. No. I saw somewhere said that somebody, I don't know where that comment is here right now, but I saw somebody writing that, is it, I look forward to hear or hearing? It is hearing, it is not hear. Even if you're writing, I am looking forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to hearing from you soon. The word is hearing, not hear. Okay? It's confusing, but this is there. Just don't about this email. Why not use CC and BCC? Aranjana, it is up to you to use CC and BCC or not. Totally up to you. I'm not in this. My main purpose was here to tell you how to construct a main body, right? CCC, BCC, you can decide when you're sending an email. I have just told you what CC is and what BCC is. So it's totally up to you when you do it. Pankaj, is it better to write in points rather than in paragraphs? See, it totally depends on your content. What are you exactly going to talk about? Right? So if you are explaining about something in email, like, briefly in 3-4 points, you can use points also. There is no harm in it, right? But if you're talking about 3-4 separate things, there's 2 separate questions. You cannot make questions as pointers here. Right? Rest, it totally depends on you how you construct your content. Right? Totally depends on you. It has to, as long it is formal, as long as the language is correct, everything else is okay. Arshad Khan. Ma'am, I have a doubt about signature line. We will write to we are sending the email. No, you write about your signature, about your name, your company, your phone number. Of course, just the way you have it in letter writing also. Extra bullet call, ma'am, I understood, mommy. Mayank, I have told you whenever you are addressing to any female, you always use miss. Okay, you don't use Mrs. or you don't know the other person is married or not. So miss is a respectfully correct thing to use. All right. So on this note, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sending your queries. If there is any question that I have not answered, I will be answering in the Excel sheet and we will be uploading it on the portal so you can download and look for the answers. So on this note, I hope the formal letter writing was clear to you, and you're also practicing your chapter 2 and chapter 3 as well. Have all the best. Do very well. Please practice as much as you can. This is going to be a one-time effort, but this is going to help you for life. You need to have a command over language right from the beginning, because once you grow, once you will become CA, and once you will start working, language play a very important role in your communications. So it is very, very important to learn from the foundation level, I would say, and which is why this course is here. So all the very best. Study well, stay home, stay safe, and I hope to see you sometime again. Thank you.